Okay, shotgun. I got loaded just now. Oh, okay. Yep, it's MotorStorm, alright. Stuff like that happens all the time. Monument Valley, it has been a while. So normally I would have saved this for the 2022 PS3 Online video, but that's over a month away from now, and that video is going to be long enough as is. We still have a lot of games to check out. So for now, at least, I want to play MotorStorm and Killzone 2 because these games were recently resurrected by the group called PSONE, which stands for PlayStation Online Network Emulated. A lot of you saw this in the 2021 video with Warhawk. It's the same group. They brought that game back, and they're currently working on more classic PlayStation 3 games. And so I'm going to show you MotorStorm, Killzone 2, and how this whole process works. They're reverse engineering, how these games worked before, and that's why they pretty much act as they did before they were officially shut down. So it's very simple. You go to your network settings, and you're going to set up a new connection that will override your current one. So for the connection settings, we're going to do custom. Wired or wireless is fine, doesn't matter. I'm wireless, but try and go wired if you can. And then all this is going to be specific to you. But once we get to IP address setting, automatic, and then DHCP, do not set. DNS setting, this is where we want to hit manual because we have to enter in these numbers right here to see their servers and not the ones that Sony closed down, years ago, right? So for primary DNS, you're entering in 185, 194, 142, and 4. I already have it punched in. Secondary, you want to do either 1111 or 8888. And once that's set, you can do automatic for MTU, proxy server, do not use, UPnP, enable, and we are good to go. We can test our connection just to make sure that your internet's fine. But your PS3 from this point forward is pretty much going to act exactly as it did, whether you're playing the games that PS1 supports or doesn't support, right? So you're pretty much all good to go. Now we can actually start these games and see the servers that are available. And we've got 13 players out of 256. You can either join a game or create our own lobby. But we got one going on right there, 11 players. Sidewinder Gulch, I don't remember this track. Well, now I do. From the screenshot I do. It's been a while for me, which I occasionally jump into MotorStorm. I'm going to see if I've still got it, I guess. Which, I'm not sure if I ever really had it, but I love this game. Somebody chose the Ozutsu Ronin. It's one of my favorite cars in the game. Had I remembered what this track was, I don't think I would have chosen the Castro Robusto is what this truck is called. So over my weekend of jumping back into MotorStorm, I was able to speak with one of the founding members of PS1, and they provided some insight into how the group came to be and what the early revival process was like.
So my name is Torgama. I've been working with PS1 basically from the start, so I was one of the founding members. And yeah, my main part is, apart from working with the community a bit, I revived Warhawk, I revived Calling All Cars. I'm currently working on Wipeout, and I basically reverse most of the stuff that also gets then implemented in the other games. I wrote most of the tooling we are using in the backend, and yeah, that's more or less it. It wasn't really intended to be what it is now, so I originally wanted to create a group that could collaborate with sharing private information, which is also why most of our source code is actually closed source. And we wanted to create a Discord group to share this information between people that either already have it or are trustworthy to not leak it anywhere, and work on medias. It's mostly first-party games made by Sony or studios closely related to Sony. They shared a common library that's provided by Sony, but it's a pretty common basis. So if you have one game, you can pretty easily revive other games. We didn't really know it was Medius back then. We just knew some protocol that seemed to be similar across multiple games. And yeah, I found out there are already people working on it, and I put all of them in one Discord group. And about 4 months later, we founded PS1 out of this group.
See, the beauty of MotorStorm at the time, for anybody that hasn't played this game, yeah, it's a typical arcade racer, but it's all the different, like the tracks are quite wide. There's a lot of ways you can go, and it's all about the vehicle class that you pick and being able to drive on the right, picking the right route as you're racing, because some parts of the course are better suited for some vehicles versus others. And Rain God Mesa, if anything, is probably one of the shorter tracks where there's not really many places to go. Ooh, okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. That's my third race. I got to get back into it, but I remembered that track pretty well. Ooh, I'll take it. I'll take 5th place. Ooh, the Rock Hopper. Rock Hopper. This track was fun. This is a long track, too. This one is suited for bikes, but online, I don't know about that, because you got other players, and... Oh, he only set it to bikes or ATVs. Alright. I was about to say, bikes are usually kind of a iffy thing if you got real-world players to mess with. See, this is how you know. If they go south and they've played this game before, this is the way to go for a bike on the Rock Hopper. But I do not want to be near any of these other bikes because they're going to try and hit me. Oh, we almost hit each other right in the air. Oh, don't you dare, buddy. Oh. So it's probably also worth mentioning that a big reason or a big part of why I'm doing this now and not for the other videos, because the thing is with like the PS3 Online series, which we've done 3 years in a row, a lot of that is checking in at a moment's notice to see if there is a community or people still playing or trying to play, right? But it is getting to the point where there does need to be some foresight and communication prior to, check in with these communities. And for something like this, where it's sort of still like Excellent Kai, there's some setup beforehand, and, what helps is that this was recently publicized because they just got MotorStorm and Killzone 2 back online, right? So there's a community here where they're actively working towards supporting more games like Resistance Fall of Man. That's coming up soon, which would be fantastic. Same with PlayStation Home. There's still such a vocal community there, but they have a Discord, and that's where right now, as I'm playing, this is a planned community night. And we still have to be realistic. These are very old games, and when there is some setup involved, it's going to be difficult to jump in whenever you want, right? So it's actually quite important to put it out there that if you are interested in jumping in, you can, but it really helps to join the PS1 community and their Discord server and get a good idea of when they're holding nights and how often people are playing, and that's where you can really get involved if you want to jump back in. Why did I hit that rock? Oh, MotorStorm. The problem is that when somebody else finishes, you only get 30 seconds to complete the race. So you can't give somebody too much of a lead. Now, as a lot of you might expect, the process of actually bringing a game back online is going to vary greatly depending on a number of factors.
So the easiest is obviously if someone has captured the game's traffic while it was still online. So we can take a look at what the game sent to the servers and what it came back, and can then try to emulate or replicate the behavior the original servers had. If there aren't any captures, it's a lot harder because we need to actually take apart the game and look into the game's resources and binaries, what it requests and what it expects back, which usually is a lot more work. Usually not the same for each game, so we have to do a lot more work actually reversing the game. It also depends on how complete the captures we have are, because if someone didn't record whatever we want to emulate, we actually have to reverse it as well. Ideally, we have captured that, a written document where is outlined what happened at which time, so you can correlate the game's actions with the logs we get, and ideally test out every feature. So there are a couple of games that are still online, and we hope to get captures of them before they are shut down. So yeah. So with Warhawk, my basically time counter would be almost 2 years, because I started working on the Reborn app and didn't even know this common basis existed at the time. So I already had like half of the game reverse engineered when I started working on this part, because I wanted to figure out how the LAN, the local area networking, worked and such things. Because the original idea was actually to implement the online features in the local area network mode. On the other hand, if you take, for example, calling all cars, we basically did this in a week or so, because there wasn't really anything in there that would have been complicated. So we didn't actually have to reverse anything, and it just worked.
I cannot believe how good MotorStorm looks for a 15-something-year-old game. It really holds up well. It's just texture resolution, if anything, that really holds it back. Oh, that was dirty. Oh, this has bad news written all over it. Yep. Yeah, so this is a good example of what I was talking about, though. This track is huge, and you can see the scale of it, right? You've got people all the way in that corner over there while I'm over here. There's so many ways you can go, and so like this area down here is not not really suited for bikes if I didn't provide a good enough example. And you can see like the deformation of the mud down there, right? That's where like a mud plugger would be great for this area. Whereas everybody probably took the high road. Ah! Don't you hate it when you know exactly what's going to happen and there's nothing you can do to stop it or change it? Alright, hopping over to Killzone 2. Let's try and play some matches over here, which it's been a long time since I've played this one. Longer than MotorStorm. There's our intro message. Welcome to the beta for the revival multiplayer of Killzone 2, PS1. Gonna accept. US. Now, with Killzone 2, it's somewhat limited with the functionality right now. The most important thing is you can play online, against other real players, no problem. But they're rolling out the functionality. So things like the clan system, I believe all this stuff does not work correctly or not at all. Same with statistics, rankings, and trophies also do not work on Killzone 2. But the difference here is that, say, Warhawk, for example, that game, I believe every part of that game works as it should, as in you can also earn trophies again, which that's also a good time to bring this up. If you do earn a trophy on a PS1 server-based game, that will be in conflict with PSN profiles. They, are not going to be thrilled with that. So you're actually, your profile will be flagged over there, but they're a third-party site that tracks, your trophy stats. So if you like using that site, then just be aware of possibly earning a trophy on any of their games currently on PS1 servers or in the future, right? Which it's fine right now in the eyes of Sony. We don't necessarily know if they'll ever do anything. So, proceed with caution or use a separate account if you're not too worried or bothered about trophies or anything like that. But it's just something to be mindful of, that with features, with certain features in these games, it's a process for them. They're working out all the separate kinks, and something like PS Home, of course, is going to be much more complicated. So for Killzone, the most important thing is that we can actually play the game at a minimum. Wow. Seeing a game alive like this again is nutty. It may not be a lot of players. It's kind of late in the night, but still, it's making me feel a type of way. Uh-oh. Ah, saw that coming. I'm gonna do bad on Killzone. And that's a shame, because this is the one game where I put a lot of time into this for the Platinum, where one of the trophies requires you to be in the top 1% of players for a week. So for 1 week, depending on how many players played, you have to be in that top 1%, so you have to play a ton. And when the game was active, I mean, that was a lot. I'm a little frazzled here. Oh, spray and pray. That was just a nightmare. That just didn't look pretty at all. Anyway, the moral of the story is I had to do that 1 week. It's not like I had to, like I wanted to. I enjoyed it, but I played a lot of Killzone 2 that week. And I don't even remember if I was good. I just remember playing a lot. So my other curiosity here is, what is the group's feeling about, if or if not Sony may ever have a problem with it?
Well, we hope they don't. Warhawk has been back online in some way for almost 3 years now, and they never had any problem with it. In addition to this, we don't take money, and instead, so we know a lot of people that actually bought the game after it was officially shut down, even though they won't be able to play it anywhere else. So it's not only a safeguard. We really don't want the money. It's not like this stuff is expensive to us. So if I maybe count everything, I have spent like 50 euros total on all of those projects yet since we started. It's not like we wouldn't get anything from it. So most of the people that work on these projects are actually students, or in my personal. For me personally, I currently do my master's degree, and I did my bachelor's degree in computer science during working on Warhawk. So it's more like a test bed.
Okay, who didn't see that coming? You try to capture good footage and, well, it's a little embarrassing on my end, isn't it? Whew. That might have been the coolest thing I've done so far. Gotcha. Well, that is about it for my night. Had a really great time. It was so fun jumping back into MotorStorm and Killzone 2, and those are not the only games. So actually, PS1 does also support SOCOM Confrontation, and there's actually like a lot of people on there right now, but I'm just so bad at SOCOM, I can't even attempt that. Calling All Cars, if you remember that small-scale PSN title that came out very close to launch day, or I think on launch day for PlayStation 3. That's back online. Twisted Metal Black, and they're also working on games like Wipeout HD, Ratchet and Clank Deadlocked, Resistance Fall of Man, of course PlayStation Home as I mentioned, and probably a ton more as well. So with enough effort and time, they'll get there and they'll have all these games up and running again for you to go back and actually play them again, and that's the best part about this. Actually, I should also bring this up, but if you want to use our PS3, you can. That does work. With one little caveat, you do have to join the PS1 Discord and ask to be whitelisted. So if you try to join, or if you try to start playing these games from our PS3 off the bat, it's not going to work. Make sure you join the PS1 Discord, ask to be whitelisted from there, and that's where you can start playing. So that makes it a little bit more accessible if you don't have a PS3 right on hand. Just want to use our PS3. That's totally fine, just you have to do it that way. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have not yet, please subscribe for the best PlayStation news, reviews, and updates that are here on YouTube. You can also follow me on Twitter at Mystic Ryan, and that is it. I will see you all in my next video. You take it easy.